Hi, welcome to Study Abroad 101. I'm so excited to have you here. Study abroad is a fantastic opportunity, and we have a lot of really cool programs to show you. So, without further ado, Study Abroad 101. So, to begin, if you have any questions, at the end, we'll take care of any questions you get. So, what we'll cover, we'll go through overseas studies, resources, and website. We'll go through eligibility requirements, academic credit, course approvals, programs, including program types, housing options, how to choose a program and when to go, financial aid and scholarships, the application process, passports and student visas, and then next steps. First, I'm Andrea Story. I'm one of the advisors here. There's three of us. We all advise based on region, so we'll give you some information about how to schedule an advising appointment at the end. But just keep in mind that we do advise based on region. We have our expertise on the regions that we do advise for. So you can ask us all any general questions, but anything program specific, you're going to want to find the specific advisor for that program. So here we have an overview of the programs that we offer. So we have over 55 semester and year programs in 30 countries. We do offer one summer program at the Pembroke Cambridge summer program in the United Kingdom. That means that in our office, the vast majority of the programs that we offer are going to be semester and year. If you've heard of something called Maymesters, those are actually Dornsife faculty-led programs. So if you have any questions about Maymesters or these short-term programs that are faculty-led, you can go to their office directly. Some schools at USC actually have their own study abroad office. USC is pretty decentralized. So while we serve all students, and we'll get into that in a sec, if you are an Annenberg Architecture or Marshall major, you're probably only going to be able to get credit on their programs. So you're going to want to go to their office, but you can still come to us for any minor or electives. And then Price, Roski, Thornton, and Viterbi also have their own offices. So we're just a small portion of the different programs that are available. So who can go in Dornsife Overseas Studies programs? We welcome all majors. All students can earn elective credit toward their 128 unit graduation requirement. When it comes to major and minor credit, like I said, that is going to be a little bit different. So for major and minor credit, Dornsife, Roski, Viterbi, Price, Cinematic Arts, Dramatic Arts, Pharmacy, Gould, Thornton, Keck, Ivine Young, and Social Work are able to get major credit on our programs. We have a lot of programs open to a lot of different majors. So for your major, I promise there is something that's available for you. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, there is no major or minor credit available through our office for Annenberg, Marshall, and Architecture. They have their own study abroad offices and staff, and they can help you on their fantastic programs and opportunities. If you're a gerontology occupational therapy major, you're going to want to check with your advisor to see if there is major or minor credit that you're able to get on our programs. If not, we are happy to help you with any free electives that you might be interested in. For resources to get started, if you are completely lost, you have no idea what you want to do, we have a ton of different places to get you going. So on our website, dornsife.usc.edu/overseas, we have a bunch of different ways that you can hear about what past students have done, learn more about the programs you're interested in, explore places you've never heard of. We have the study abroad advisors. So we do advising appointments year round through Advise USC. On our website, you're able to see the instructions that say how you can refer yourself for advising. And we also do walk-in express advising for the first few weeks of the semester. So that's between typically from 11 to 2. Every semester is going to be a little bit different. And that's where you can walk in. Whichever advisor is available is able to help you out for like a quick 10 to 15-minute question. Anything beyond 15 minutes or that's program specific for specific country or specific region, you are going to want to meet with an advisor for that. We have fantastic study abroad ambassadors that are USC alumni who studied abroad. They were in your exact same shoes. They came back, they had the time of their lives, and they want to share it with you and help you because someone helped them. So we have on our website, you can find all the study abroad ambassadors for the different regions. You can even see their contact information. Mostly they leave their email. Sometimes they have Instagram or a phone number or something else that you can contact them. And then we have program binders with student feedback available in our office. We have this big bookshelf with all of these program evaluations. So students leave feedback on our feedback forms after their programs. We ask them tons of information about housing, about the classes they took, about what it was like to be in the country and how much they spent, and all these different questions to give you insight into what it really feels like to live on these programs. So you can come through and read everything that you want to about the countries or regions or programs that you're interested in. So that being said, when you're looking at our website, To navigate it, we have these tabs. So we have Getting Started, Programs, Student Experiences Abroad, Accepted Returning, Incoming Exchange, and About and Connect. So when you're getting started, we typically recommend that you start with Getting Started. So when you look at the Getting Started tab, you're going to see all of these different options that we think that you should take a look at before you choose a program, before you even open an application. If you click on Before You Apply, we have resources on how to choose a program, reasons to study abroad. If you're still on the fence and not totally sure if it's something that you want to do, we have reasons why we personally recommend it. Study abroad is up there with things that employers want to see, similar to research and internships. Seeing that students studied abroad, it has a lot of professional, personal, um, academic benefits to it. So we have those reasons listed out for you. We have eligibility information, tips for first gen, diversity and identity resources. So no matter what it is that you have a question or concern about, we have something available for you. I also encourage you to specifically check out our pre-recorded sessions. So that way, no matter what time of the semester it is, time of year, you're able to take a look and see if there's something that you're able to watch that we explained in the past. And then over here we have student experiences abroad. So this is where you can find student study abroad ambassadors, all their different bios, it's broken down by region. And we also have something called Student Voices. Student Voices is where students have written up a little narrative. They have pictures explaining something that was unique about their experience or lessons they learned or just wanting to share their highlights of their program. And they have pictures so that way their experience can live on forever and ever on our website, even after they graduate. So even if we don't have an ambassador for the program you're interested in, you are still able to look at Student Voices and read about student experiences in that location. Finally, over here for programs, this is, I say finally, but this is one of the more important ones. For programs, we really recommend students start out by programs by major if you're planning on getting major credit on your program. Some programs are major restricted. Some programs we maybe wouldn't necessarily recommend for certain majors. They might not have courses that are offered for it. So there are other programs that are a better fit. Of course, if you're looking to take only free electives or you just want to see everything that we offer, you can take a look at programs by region. We also have a little shortcut to our flagship programs of USC Paris and USC Madrid. We have resources for pre-health. We have intern research and volunteer if you want to look at how you can add to your experience. Some are for credit, some are not, but all of it is valuable experience when it comes to personal, professional, and academic growth. And if you are specifically looking for programs that don't have any language prerequisite, no language requirement, you can take a look there and see the over 20 programs that we offer that have no language requirement whatsoever. When you're looking at one of our programs, all of our program pages are going to look exactly the same in the sense that all of the tabs are in the exact same order. We have an overview where you're able to see the overview of the eligibility requirements as well as some information about the school itself or the region or the country itself. And then we're going to have academics where you can see all the academic breakdown, where you can find courses, instructions, special notes, things that you should consider. We have housing and student life to, again, hear about housing, student life. All of our programs are going to have different housing options. So it's really important to take a look at that to see if there's something that is a non-negotiable for you, you're able to see if it is what you're looking for. And then student life, so you can see what you can get involved in, if there's anything extra special about student life. Some of our programs have really fantastic opportunities for students that are really unique, and that'll be listed under the student life tab. Under finances, that's where you can see a breakdown of the program cost sheet. So you can see what's billed through USC, what's not billed through USC that you would pay to those people. Our advisors do very much research to figure out the most transparent way to get you to understand about how much you can expect it to cost for the semester you're going abroad. Of course, for anything specific, please meet with an advisor, and then we're happy to explain how some things might work out for you. For how to apply, you can see instructions for both the USC application and the program application itself. Most of our programs you're going to apply to us and to the program itself, so it has everything listed out for you. And then finally, a bunch of resources. So it has our social media, our Instagram, our Facebook, resources for the school or program you're looking at, resources for the country or region, anything you could really think of. So everything is available for you on the program page. You just got to look. For basic eligibility for all of our programs, you need at least a USC cumulative GPA of a 3.0. That means that until you have a USC GPA, you are ineligible to apply. So you have to have completed at least one semester at USC in order to apply to a program. Keep in mind that some programs are going to require a higher GPA, but there are no programs that are going to have a GPA less than a 3.0. You have to meet the language requirement if there is one. Half of our programs do not have a language requirement, but if there is a language requirement, it is non-negotiable. You do have to meet that by our application deadline. There are major restrictions for some programs, so some programs are only open to certain majors. Please make sure that you double check before applying that your major is eligible. If your major is not eligible, that is unfortunate, but good thing we have at least 54 other programs that you could look at. And you have to have a good student conduct record. We check with Title IX, academic integrity, student conduct, a bunch of different offices on campus to make sure that you don't have any major infractions. For the language requirement, even if the program itself doesn't have a language requirement, Dornsife does. If that language is taught at USC, there's going to be at least 2 semesters of language required. There are a couple examples where it's going to be different. So sometimes more than 2 semesters is required. This is the case if you're taking classes either where that language is the medium of instruction. So it's not like you're learning about Spanish, you're learning through Spanish. Or in a case where you are taking classes at a university where the other students are taking classes in, or if the method of instruction for all students is going to be that language. So it's there for a reason. For some programs, just 1 semester is required. So that's just going to be for 1 semester of German for environmental studies and sustainability in Freiburg. That's our only exception where it's just 1 semester of German. So the type of language background you have can satisfy that study abroad language requirement. So if you have AP or IB credit, depending on the program, that might meet the language requirement. For some, you might need to take additional courses. That's because the AP test can only test you into or out of the 3rd semester of a language. So if you're looking at a program where you need to have taken 5 semesters of a language, that AP or IB can only test you out of that 3rd semester, and then you would then have to take additional courses. If you have some background in the language, maybe you grew up speaking it, maybe you took it in high school, but you didn't take AP or IB, maybe you just started learning it on your own, whatever, that's fine. You just need to take a placement test through language at USC. The most you can test out of is the 3rd semester level. And something else to keep in mind is we need to have record of that placement test result by the application deadline. So the test has to be completed, score in hand by our application deadline in order for you to get credit for it. If you are a speaker of another Romance language, you could take French 175 or Portuguese 175 or Italian 175. That way, it counts as taken the first 3 levels of that language because these are advanced French, Portuguese, Italian classes for speakers of other Romance languages. So at USC, it's really cool because they assume you already have the foundation of learning a language, specifically the foundation of learning a Romance language. They determine you just need this advanced class, you'll be caught up with the rest of the students. So that's a really cool option if you want to go to somewhere in France, if you want to go to Brazil, if you want to go somewhere in Italy, but you can't take 3 semesters of a language. And then, of course, USC language courses. So if you want to go to a program, you've never taken it before, take it at USC. If you're planning on starting a new language, we do recommend that you start early and plan ahead, just to make sure that you are meeting the requirements as they happen. For academic status and credit, you are still enrolled at USC as a continuing student. So this is not considered a leave of absence. You are still a USC student while you are studying abroad. You earn USC credit, not transfer credit. They're in residence units. That means that on your transcript is going to show up as if you took those classes at USC. They count for major credit. Some programs require major courses. Minor credit or elective credit toward your 128 unit degree requirements. If you are trying to take Dornsife classes for Dornsife credit, as long as the course is within a Dornsife subject, it can also count for Dornsife units. Your courses all come back as credit or no credit. That means that there is no effect on your GPA. It's different from pass, no pass. Pass, no pass means you never got a grade. You either passed or you didn't. Credit, no credit means you have a transcript from the school that you attended with a grade on it. It's just not going to actually show up on your USC transcript. So that means if you're trying to go to law school, grad school, and they need a copy of your transcript with your grades on it, you're going to have that to send to them. It's just not going to affect your GPA at USC, which is pretty cool. except for USC Paris and USC Madrid. Those you do get letter grades because it's a USC affiliate faculty member that is teaching. So you are going to get letter grades and it will affect your USC GPA. Important note, you cannot take GEs on a semester program through any of USC's study abroad offices. So that's not just Dornsife, it's any of us. And you cannot take RIT 150 or 340 abroad. So GEs, RIT 150, 340 have to either be taken at USC or there's some Maymasters that do it. So that's another option for you. For your advisors, so you have a few different advisors at USC that I'm sure you're aware of by now. One of them is going to be your study abroad advisor. So we can guide you in selecting a specific program. We can help you find a program that fits you academically, personally, financially, with your career goals, what you're looking for in student life, all of that. It's our job to know our program so that way we can help you find something based on what you're looking for. We can help you navigate your host institution website. I know it can be super confusing, even if you're looking at a school whose country speaks English. Academics are different. English academics are different no matter what country you're looking at. So we can help you find course information, understand the application process, figure out how housing and student life works in a new culture because it is going to be a little bit different. So you can see us as kind of the translators to help you navigate the entire application process. We can also guide you on visas, scholarships. We have pre-departure orientations. You're going to have a health and safety one with everyone going abroad. You're going to have program-specific one with other students from USC going abroad on your program. Other events and mixers and all that good stuff we'll provide for you as well. So what we cannot do, our colleagues can do, and that's going to be your academic advisor. What your academic advisor does is they are the key person for questions on major and minor credit. If your main question is, can this class get me major or minor credit? They are the one you're going to want to go to. They're the one that's going to complete and sign your course pre-approval form for you. So once you list out courses you want to take on it, then they're going to sign off and tell you how it would count for your major or if it won't count for your major or minor. Um, they're also going to give you specific advice on what courses would count. Um, they are the ones that can create or update a four-year course plan. As interested as we are in study abroad about your four-year course plan, we cannot make any changes. That can only be your academic advisor. So if you're going to try and shift some things around to make it work to study abroad, they're the ones that are able to update that for you. And some academic advisors keep a list of study abroad courses that have already been approved for major or minor credit, so they might be able to help you with that resource as well. For program types, um, there are a lot of unique opportunities, like I mentioned. Some different programs are going to offer wildly different types of classes and types of experiences. So these are the types of programs you're able to embark on. One is something called direct enrollment. This is where you're directly enrolling in a university abroad. So, for example, this is what it's like if you're at University of Melbourne, you're at University of Cape Town, you're at Maastricht in the Netherlands, you're at Chinese University of Hong Kong. They have study abroad offices there that are there for resources and support, but otherwise you are a university student. You are taking classes alongside university students. You are basically like when you started at USC, you're starting at this university for the semester. There are the USC administered programs. So this is our USC Paris and USC Madrid. You have some classes at a study center with USC students. They're just USC classes. You also have the option to direct enroll at certain partner universities. So you would take some classes with USC students and some classes at local universities. There are also 2-unit internships available. So if you have a higher level of French or Spanish, you may be interested in doing an internship alongside your other classes. Then we have something called a program provider. Basically, if your program starts with an acronym, that's probably the name of a company or a provider that provides services. So this is where you might be at only a study center with US students. So this is the case in Athens, in Vienna, in Morocco. That way, you are only taking classes at a study center with US students. Sometimes we have program providers where you can be at a study center and take some classes at the local school. This is our case in Quito or in Milan, where you might take some courses with American students only, and then some classes with local students. We also have some really special, unique opportunities in field stations. So that's only with US students, but you're doing really unique work in Australia, Tanzania, Um, we have one in the Galapagos Islands. So these are the different types of programs. So if any of these sound particularly interesting to you, now you have the vocabulary to talk to an advisor, whether it's in study abroad or academics, and then we can help kind of narrow down your search. We also have what we like to call some special focuses. So if you're looking to do an internship, you have another opportunity in addition to USC Paris and USC Madrid. You have Canberra, Australia. So there you would take three courses at the Australian National University, and you would do a four-unit internship in government, a think tank, an NGO. It's a very political city. It's the capital of Australia, so you have a lot of government action going on. Our students that do this absolutely love it. It's an incredibly unique opportunity to work as an intern with the Australian government. We also have what we consider to be highly experiential. So there's some component of it where it is completely unique from anything else you could possibly do. So we have health related ones. CIEE Botswana, specifically the community public health track. There you are actually on the ground doing community public health. So it's a very hands-on experience for students that are trying to be involved in a community doing health in a new country. And then we have King's College London Health and Society program. This is a super cool opportunity to shadow healthcare professionals. So on that program, you would take three classes like normal, and then you would participate in health and society, shadowing healthcare professionals in the national health system in the United Kingdom. That one is special and super selective, but both of them are really cool for pre-health students, just depending on if you're looking for hands-on experience or shadowing. And then these super unique opportunities, we didn't know how else to really categorize them. One is Buddhist studies. So this is in India and Thailand where you're living in a monastery, you're meditating daily. If you have a strong draw toward Buddhism or to learn more about Buddhism, to practice meditation, that's a really unique semester opportunity. You don't have to be an active practicing Buddhist to go on the program, but if you're interested, I encourage you to learn more. We have SIT Mexico, Migration Borders and Transnational Communities. This is in Oaxaca, where you're actually going all over Mexico. You're based mainly in Oaxaca, but you actually start in the US and you see what it's like for people to be migrating between the US and Mexico, and as people are entering in Mexico. So very special. You're taking all classes, all of these unique opportunities, actually. You're taking a set course list, um, but super unique. We have Rainforest to Reef in Australia. So this is going to be in the rainforest of Australia, kind of like in the northeast. Um, if you're interested in particularly like marine biology, rainforest, you want to be like doing field work. That's fantastic. And then for wildlife management studies in Kenya and Tanzania, that is also where you're going to be doing field work with a wildlife focus. So, whatever kind of experience you want to do, whether it's in the classroom or as far from a classroom as you could possibly be in a remote part of the Australian rainforest, we have something for you. For housing, every program, like I said, is going to have a different housing option. Some programs only offer one housing option and it's non-negotiable. Some programs you can completely choose your own. They have a bunch of options. It really just depends. So for homestays, this is pretty common with programs with a language study. Homestays are the best way to practice your language because not only do you have someone that you can talk to all the time, they're also incredible culture experts because a lot of the times these are people who've lived in this country their whole life. They have many generations in that country. Their family speaks Spanish, so a lot of the times students even keep up with their homestay families for years to come. I've personally kept up with my homestay family from when I studied abroad, however many years later. So it's a really unique and special opportunity, particular with language study. Some of it is with experiential programs, and I would say it requires the most adaptability because obviously you're living in someone else's home, so you don't have as much customizability of like your own living space. However, they're not restrictive. Nobody in these homestays are trying to like make you come home at 8:30 p.m. and can't have friends and all these different kinds of things. It's just not what it's like. It actually allows the most engagement. These are the students who have the most engagement with the culture, the most engagement with the language. A lot of times you're invited to different cultural activities that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. And I think homestays also present a cool way to not as many responsibilities. A lot of homestays, they cook for you, they do your laundry, so you don't really have to take care of yourself as much. Someone else is taking care of a lot of that for you, and you can go on and live your life. There's university or private dorm. So a lot of universities where you're just attending the university as a direct enroll student, you're living in university housing or private dorm. Some of them have apartments. So your program provider or university might have an apartment option. This is less common. It might have local students or it might only be US students. It really just depends on the program, and you can learn more in the housing tab. Or for some options, you can find your own housing. This is the least common, but it's some programs in Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and Sanspo in Paris. It is otherwise not super common. As I mentioned, sometimes there's just one option, sometimes there are several. However, if program provided housing is available and if it's indicated that you have to live in program provided housing, you do have to live on it. So if you have any questions or concerns, let your advisor know, but just know that some housing is non-negotiable and some you have a choice. When should I go? I know everybody wants to go abroad junior spring, but that's actually just not the best time for everybody. So it's really any time from your third semester at USC all the way up until your last semester, but recommendations are going to change student to student. So what works for one student, what works for your friend might not work the best for you. Although spring of junior year is common, a lot of students go sooner. Some even go their fall of their senior year, depending on what they're doing. A lot of the times, pre-health students, it's recommended to go fall of your junior year if you're not doing a gap year, because of the MCAT, taking the MCAT, studying for the MCAT. You want to kind of get your study abroad completed before doing that. And for engineering, you might want to consider sophomore year if you're taking tech electives. Some programs are only going to be for juniors and seniors. So if you are looking at a program and you do have to be a junior and senior, then yeah, that makes sense. You would want to go your junior or senior year. But sometimes it might just work out best for you, especially if you're taking lower division free electives. It might be in your favor to study abroad earlier. So as I'm sure you've heard from different advisors, we recommend coming to see us early and often. Talk to us, talk to your major advisor so we can figure out the best time for you. And you can participate in a maximum 2 semesters abroad. And you don't even have to go to the same place both semesters. Sometimes students go for a full year in the same location. Sometimes they do one semester in one hemisphere, another semester in another hemisphere. If you really love the fall, you can study abroad in the fall at USC and then our spring in the Southern Hemisphere, which is their fall. And you can just experience fall for a full year. And then actually 3 semesters of fall, because then it would be fall when you come back. So you can season max if you really want to. For timing, most programs end after USC graduation. So if you're looking to go abroad your last year, or maybe your best friend's graduating and you really want to be home for it and you can't miss it, just keep in mind that most programs are going to end after USC's graduation. And most Southern Hemisphere programs are going to run February to June and July to November, and that's because the seasons are flipped. So that means their summer and winter are flipped too. So something to keep in mind when you're planning your courses, when you're planning internships, all that good stuff. For international students on an F1 visa, so if you're entering the US after September 15th, 2026, you must complete all degree requirements by the admit until date, and that's determined by immigration authorities. So it's your end date on your I-20. So make sure you plan ahead for your study abroad experience to fit within that time frame. There's a little bit more planning now, but it is doable, and I recommend that you plan ahead. If you're receiving federal financial aid applies only to degree applicable coursework. So that means it's units. That means units after 128 units are not covered for undergraduate degrees by financial aid. So again, plan ahead for your study abroad experience to fit within that 128 unit framework, including Dornsife electives, major requirements, minor, all that good stuff. So, how to choose a program. Us as advisors, we love this question when someone comes to us and they're like, these are all the things that I want. What do I do? We say, great. First, we're going to talk about your academics. Think about what courses you're interested in. If you know for a fact you're not interested in courses for let's say your major class, the way they're taught in a certain country is of no interest to you. Maybe it's normally a lab science in the US and it's a social science abroad or vice versa. I would recommend not that program. But also think about what are you really interested in? Some of our programs have really unique courses. So if you are really interested in Irish music, then yeah, we have programs in Ireland we'd recommend for you. If you are a pre-health student and you want to do a cadaver lab as an undergraduate, something you cannot do at USC, I would probably recommend University of Queensland, where you can do that as an undergrad. You also want to make sure that you're staying on track. So we want to work with your academic advisor to make sure that you are staying on track for all your degree requirements and that you're completing or and that what you are doing is going to complement your studies on campus. Especially if you're a thematic option, you have a certain plan for any kind of capstone or master's degree. We want to find courses in a program that's going to complement everything that you're doing on campus. Think about the program model. So, if you're super interested in learning a language and you want cultural immersion, maybe the programs in Japan, maybe there are certain programs in Japan we would look at more closely because you are so fascinated by language and cultural immersion. If you don't want to take a program that has a language requirement or you're looking to take classes only in English, that is going to determine the type of program you're looking at. Think about if you want to be with USC students, US students, local students, a combination, none of, or not none of the above, one of the above only. A lot of the times, USC students want to be with local students. They want to immerse themselves in a new school. They want to meet other students there. But some students, they want to have that mix of both US and local students. That helps us figure out what type of program would be best for you. And then also living arrangements, like I said, making sure you're on a program with a program model that's housing matches either your desires or your needs. If you have certain accommodations that you require for housing, or certain preferences for housing, or cultural, religious considerations for your housing and living arrangements. That might determine what program, or that might eliminate certain program options for you, or help us narrow down your option. Location. Now, obviously, what are you interested in? If you're interested in a certain culture, let's take a look at that culture. But if there's a certain country that you're just not interested in for living, maybe you want weather that's good weather. Maybe you're born and raised in Los Angeles and you want something that is nice weather. Great. Maybe you were born and raised in Los Angeles and you want to try something completely different. I hear that all the time as an advisor. I want to experience snow. I want to experience cold winter. I've never experienced it before. Then that's going to be a factor. City size. That's going to be a pretty big difference. Do you want something kind of like USC where you're on a campus immediately next to the downtown of a city? Do you want to be in a city where everything is just walking distance from you? Do you want to be in a mid-sized city? These are all things that we can help tailor to what you want. Then, of course, safety and health. If there are certain dietary restrictions that you have, other identity factors that might contribute to a location we would recommend for you, factor into choosing a program. And of course, eligibility. So check the overview tab on program pages because if you're not eligible for the program, then we're going to look at some other options. Now, for affording study abroad, we have the cost. Costs are going to vary. So see the finances tab on each program page, and that's going to give you an idea of how much it's likely going to cost. It's going to give you the estimate for how much an average semester is at USC, and then it's also going to say the estimate for the semester on this program. One question I get a lot is, can financial aid and scholarships apply? The answer is yes. Financial aid and other scholarships apply to the total cost of attendance. Yes, tuition-based merit scholarships can apply to your tuition. Yes, tuition assistance benefit or TAB, if your parent works at USC, can apply toward tuition. So your financial aid and scholarships are able to apply similarly or exactly as they do at USC. And then your cost of living and travel costs are going to vary by location. So your airfare, depending on how expensive it is to fly there, some places are a lot cheaper and more expensive to fly to than others. Your housing, there are some programs that even have scholarships for housing. Like I know the University of Bristol right now is offering a foundation scholarship that may cover most or all of that housing cost. There are daily living costs. If you're in a major city, a coffee is going to be more expensive than in a smaller town. And then independent travel, how much or how little you're planning on traveling, how expensive it is to travel to the different areas. All of these factor into the entire semester experience and the cost of being abroad for, the 4 to 6 months you will be. For scholarships, there are a lot of options available on our website. There are Dornsife scholarships. So these scholarships are for Dornsife programs only. So the Del Amo program for Spain, the Hovell Scholarship for Germany, and the Gold Family Scholarship for trustee scholars. So if you are studying abroad in one of our programs, these are some exclusive options that you have. There are some other USC scholarships that are open for USC. So there's the Study Abroad grant. That's through the USC Financial Aid Office. That's up to $2,000 typically that you may be eligible for. So if you receive financial aid, we recommend applying for that. There's the Black Alumni Association Scholarship specifically for USC Madrid. And then for anyone studying in Africa, there's the USC Africa Fund. Different partner institutions offer their own scholarships. So I mentioned the housing scholarship available for Bristol. The other programs we work with, CIEE, IES, CET, Amethyst, more of them. A lot of the times they have scholarships for airfare. They might even do scholarship matching for different scholarships or grants that you might receive. They might offer different scholarships for different services, like some have like an ambassador program or you blog for them or something along those lines that you should look into for your program. And then there are some that are open from the US government. So that's the Gilman Scholarship, our big one that we like to tell students about. This is for Pell Grant recipients. And it can be anywhere from like 2,500 to $5,000 for the Gilman Scholarship. And there's also the Boren Scholarship for students studying a critical language. Critical language is a definition by the government, so you can look up all the different critical languages and see if the language that you're studying is considered a critical language, and then you have that scholarship you can apply for. For our application process, first, you're going to open an application. To do that, you're going to go to the How to Apply tab on the Study Abroad program page and get critical application information. The reason I say critical is because the different applications are going to have different requirements and different deadlines. And I mean that because Spain, their deadline is early August for the spring. All of the programs are going to be due in September for the spring. And then if you're applying for the fall or the full year, all of our programs are going to be due in mid-February. So based on once you figure out what program you want to apply to, take a look at the How to Apply tab and you can see all the information for the USC process. Then you're going to fill out the information and you're going to upload the documents to the application. This is for all programs. There's going to be a personal statement. We need an official USC transcript that you have purchased from Parchment. The USC application, which has, your basic information about yourself and it's just basic information. Passport copy. If you don't have a passport already, that's okay. Well, the instructions in the application give you tips on what you should be doing. There's a financial aid statement that you need to upload if applicable. If you don't receive financial aid, you would just say you don't receive financial aid. And then there's a recommendation. So depending on the program, there are going to be different instructions for recommendations. Then you're going to submit the application by the deadline. So you're going to fill out the information, upload all the documents, and all applications are due at 11:59 p.m. on the deadline that's stated. And the deadline will be on our website, it'll be on the application, it'll be on our Instagram, it'll be absolutely everywhere. And then after you submit the application, you're going to have an application interview with your study abroad advisor. We're going to do a conduct check with Office of Community Expectations, academic integrity, housing, civil rights compliance, make sure that you don't have any other issues. For supporting documents, there's a letter of recommendation or a recommendation questionnaire, depending on the program. So for USC, if it's through the USC application, you enter an email address and the recommender fills out a questionnaire. Some programs, you enter their email address and they need to upload a letter or a hard copy. So on the How to Apply tab, all that information should be spelled out so that way you know what to do, but just make sure that you read carefully because the different programs are going to ask for it in different ways. Personal statement. Why this statement? Or I'm sorry, why this program? What are your academic goals? What do you hope to gain from this? We're taking a look at maturity and your adaptability to living in a different culture. Or is this something that we think, that we think you are able to do? You're going to need to submit your course pre-approval form. Meet with your academic advisor well in advance. Well in advance means usually more than 2 weeks before the application is due. And that's when you're going to go over what courses you should be taking. You're going to choose tentative courses that you would like to take. Remember that your academic advisor is your key partner in choosing tentative classes and determining what courses meet your major or minor requirements. And then a passport copy. So if you have a passport, you need to renew it or you need to apply for one. We need to know. So if your passport is there, that's great. If you are in the process of renewing or need to apply for one, there's going to be an option to tell us that. And then you just need to send it to us as soon as you have your passport. And transcripts, as I mentioned, and financial aid statement, as I mentioned. So for the application process for the host institution, a really important note here at the bottom is you have to be accepted by both USC and the host institution in order to be fully accepted. So if Dornsife rejects you and the other one accepts you or vice versa, you are not accepted to the program. So you're going to complete their application on our how to apply tab of the study abroad program you're looking at. There are going to be instructions of things you need to know about applying to the host institution. And the applications are going to vary by program. Sometimes you should apply earlier than the USC deadline. Sometimes you can't apply until after the USC deadline. Sometimes there are an online form. Sometimes there are things you need to mail in, a bunch of different things depending on the program. So the instructions are listed on each one. The application parts, there's usually an application form. They usually need a transcript. A lot of times you can just upload the same transcript you used for us. You might be asked for a recommendation or a personal statement, depending on the program. And then you're going to make sure you follow their deadline. So always check the website and refer to their instructions to get deadline information. We usually recommend applying as close to the USC deadline as possible, while still meeting their deadlines, just because the longer the semester goes, if USC says our deadline is September 15th and the program you're applying to is due November 1st, midterms happen, life happens, breaks happen, and sometimes students forget they miss the deadline, they can't go. So we recommend applying as soon as possible so that way it's in your head, you don't forget, and you don't miss any deadlines. For passports and student visas, do not wait to start your application to apply for or renew your passport. If you don't have a passport and you know you want to study abroad, apply early because you want to have it 6 months before your program starts. Otherwise, it could make it a little bit more hectic either to apply for a visa or even just your peace of mind. If you have a passport, check your expiration date and renew it as soon as possible so you have a new one in hand by the time you need to apply for a program. Something to keep in mind is your passport has to be valid for 6 months after you would return from your program. So if you're trying to go abroad in spring 2027 and your program would end in June, that passport needs to be valid through December at the absolute earliest. So you want to make sure you're giving yourself enough time to renew it. For student visas, some processes are kind of long. It could even take up to 2.5 months. For some programs, the consulate might hold your passport in the visa process. So, for Spain, Italy, France, and Greece, we do not recommend planning any international travel while your visa application is in process because you're not going to have your passport and then you probably won't be able to go on the international trip. So, take a look at our How to Apply tab for that program you're looking at and also ask your study abroad advisor, but that's a pretty good general tip for those regions. International students should definitely consult with OIS well in advance, and permanent residents don't live abroad for more than 6 months unless immigration experts give it the okay. That's the guidance that we've been told to pass on. And if you're in the middle of a naturalization process, we don't recommend going abroad because it can cause some problems. Finally, Dornsife faculty-led programs. These are the Maymesters. They're part of your spring schedule of classes. So if you would like to take that, it's a part of the spring course load. Financial aid is going to apply to tuition if it's not over 18 units total. The offerings change year to year, whereas our programs, for the most part, are offered the same programs are offered year to year, semester to semester. There's really not a guarantee with Maymesters. They're typically announced in early September. The applications will open sometime around there or in October, and they're usually due by November. Some of them fill up really soon. It really just depends. And then they offer summer programs as well, except for Cambridge. And you can see their stuff on their website. You can email them at flp@dornsife.usc.edu to see a broad range of options. So you've learned a lot. Hope you've gotten a lot out of this. For next steps, we recommend checking out our How to Choose a Program page to help you. But basically, personal goals. What do you want? What cultures, places, languages are interesting to you? What do you want? Be a little selfish. What are you interested in? Think of your academic goals. Assess your academic goals, how studying off campus can meet those goals, meet with your academic advisor, and talk about your course plan. And if there's a certain semester that's recommended. That's honestly the first academic step. What semester should you even be looking at? And then overseas studies. Come talk to us. Come see our ambassadors. Check out our events, our calendar on Engage SC. Attend an info session. Make sure you're following us on our social media. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Take a look at our Facebook page. Our website, dornsife.usc.edu/overseas, where you can see the plethora of different opportunities that we have. And please refer yourself for advising to Overseas Studies and Advise USC and list the region you're interested in. You can email us if you have any questions at overseas@usc.edu. And if you're going to be for Study Abroad Week for fall 2026, these are the different events that we have going on based on major, based on region. Some have representatives, our student showcase, and of course, our study abroad fair. Every semester, we have a study abroad fair where you can meet student ambassadors, reps, advisors, talk to us, and explore. Any questions? A question, am I only allowed to study abroad once? No, you can study abroad for up to 2 semesters, 2 full semesters. And that doesn't include Maymesters. So you can study abroad for 2 semesters and do a Maymester 3 springs if you really want to. The only cap is 2 semesters. Okay. Thank you so much. We hope to see you around, and we can't wait to help you study abroad.